Good morning, everybody, and welcome back again to the worst sports podcast out there. I am your main host, Raven Slayer, 11, and welcome everybody back again to another episode. This week, as it pertains, it's a big birthday stream. 29 years old this year. Excited to be here with y'all. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not alone. We are actually going over the recent free agency signings just from this past week. Waiting on a lot more news coming in. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers gets signed somewhere fairly soon. Still waiting on news about that, but there's been some huge signings this most recently this week. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. And like I mentioned, I'm not here alone. I'm here always with my dad. Finally able to get onto his show here for once. Welcome, Dad. All right. So I know kind of sent you some information as far as the most recent signings. So we'll go ahead and get right into it and just kind of go over some most recent ones here. So, um, oh, okay. Well then I'll hop out of here for a second and keep it going on the other end. Gotcha. I will hop out of here, hop back in here around 9 o'clock. So I'll just be on there myself, talking, chatting with everybody, saying what's up. So I'll be back in a second. Well, you heard it there, folks. He's not quite ready yet. So right around 9, we'll be jumping in there, chatting with him, talking about the recent free agency signings. But like I said, birthday stream. So we'll start out with something fun. I stopped off somewhere. Start out the stream fun way. The fun way. Some baseball packs and some basketball packs. We'll start out the fun way today instead of doing it the opposite way. All right, so starting off here. Actually, got a decent one here. Starting out with a Stars of the MLB, Fernando Tatis Jr. Greatest hits, Jackson Merrill. We have a New York Yankees team item. And these are backwards, so that's a cool card. Taj Brooks with Taj Bradley with Tampa Bay. Sonny Gray with St. Louis. Yeah. We're starting this kind of differently, guys. I thought he was ready. And I thought I was ready too. I completely forgot to turn on my Xbox to pull it up and pull up the stream over there so I can keep track of you guys chatting in here. Yo, what up, Sean? Appreciate you. Not quite ready. Just doing some fun stuff. Start of the birthday stream because I will not be here tomorrow. But my dad is over in the main chat right now. He is currently my little sister. She had a sleepover, so he really can't talk at the current moment. So we're having fun opening some packs. We got the rookie Zach DeZenzo, Seth Brown of the former Oakland A's, Nick Gordon with Miami, probably going to be one of the worst teams this year. Jake Rogers with Detroit. Patrick Bailey with San Francisco. Hoop Dreams with Tampa Bay. Masataka Yoshida with Boston. And then finally rounding it off from this pack, Nathan Eovaldi with Texas. This is a good way to kill some time before 9 o'clock, 15 minutes. Yes, that is the hot sauce that you see over there, sir. Good old Texas Pete. Ooh. Starting out pretty cool with another Stars of the MLB. Yordan Alvarez with the Astros. And then, of course, these are backwards. Another Taj Bradley. Cincinnati Reds team item, team card. Nick Lodolo with the Reds. Bryson Stott with Philadelphia. Good old rookie River Ryan from LA. Josh Hader with Houston. Should kind of go slower with this stuff, knowing it's going to... Actually, I have a ton of packs to go through, so definitely going to rip them a little bit faster. Tyrone Taylor with New York. Future Stars Evan Carter with Texas. My personal favorite, and a Diamondback, Ketel Marte. Oh, snap. We got a Shohei Ohtani, LA. If you happen to see Max, let him know we're on as well. And finishing this pack off with a Xavier Edwards. That's a cool card art. Oh, it's a numbered card too. 1,029 out of 2025. Moving on. Not sorry for what I just sent to... Oh, good Lord. I don't even want to think about that. The best part is the secondary screen I have, Sean, happens to have happens to have the Discord viewed. All right, moving on. We got Luis Roberts, Stars of the MLB. Would you really call him a star, though? Got a really cool one to finish this one off. Another Cincinnati Reds team team card. This one's not numbered, but it's still a really cool card art. Rookie card, Ben Rice. Just look from my phone. Okay, sure. Andres Jimenez with Cleveland. Cleveland! Ha-Seong Kim with San Diego. Julio Rodriguez with Seattle. You know what, Kermit, get out of here. I was going to use him later on in the show, so he'll probably make an appearance later. Rookie Luis De Los Santos with the Blue Jays. Tigers Casey Mize. This is a great way to start the show. Minnesota Twins, say cheese, everybody. Say cheese. Baltimore's Ryan O'Hearn. Pedro Pajes with St. Louis. Oh, that's another cool card right after this one. Bryant Herter with Detroit. And like I was saying, a really cool freaking card. George Brett, 35-year anniversary with the Royals. That's a really cool card. Oh, good old flashback cards. Those are really cool. Buzz, buzz goes my phone. We'll look at that in a moment. Moving right along. Minnesota's Carlos Correa, stars of the MLB, former Houston Astro. Cheater. Rookie Bradley Blaylock with Detroit. Sorry, that's Colorado. I'm way off. My apologies, Colorado fans. Another Colorado legend. Good old Charlie Blackmon. San Diego's own Jake Cronenworth. The worst team in MLB for the last going to be 2 years running. Brooks Baldwin, rookie card. Hopefully he'll have a great year for them. Young Ho Lee with San Francisco. I want to double check myself there. I'm going to mispronounce this. Jake Kokonowski. Or Kokonowski. I believe it's Kokonowski. Rookie from the Angels. Connor Wong with San Diego. I need to stop doing that. That's Boston, not San Diego. Trevor Larnach with Minnesota. Davis Schneider with the Blue Jays. Taylor Ward with the Angels. We might have a little bit of a break here because it is 8:53, almost 9 o'clock. Maikel Garcia with Kansas City to end off that pack. We have 3 more of the 2025 Top Series 1s before we break into the NBA hoops. I believe, hold on. Give me a brief moment, everybody. I think I'll have to change up my notes then. Sorry. My dad's also talking to me through the Discord and everything. We're trying to kind of piece things together as we go along. Anywho, moving right along. Ooh, 2 great cards right here. So, stars of the MLB, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., not senior. Good old Vlad. I have not seen this one before. Pretty sure everybody else has. The Ellie De La Cruz Cactus League Arizona card. This is a spring training card. This is really cool. This is a really cool freaking card. And then we got a red bordered and numbered. Oh my God, this is numbered 1 through 5. Holy shit. Tommy Edman with LA. Holy shit. Ugh. Okay, cool. It caught it. Holy shit. 1 out of 5. That's the first time I've had a card that's numbered 1 out of 5. First time. Huh. Good on moving on to Nick Lodolo with with Cincinnati. Holy shit, guys. Brenton Doyle with Colorado. Francisco Lindor with San Francisco. Washington's own rookie, DJ Hearns. Colorado Cubs' own Isaac Paredes. Minnesota's own. I had to double check the name. Ryan Jeffers. I'm almost certain my dad will watch this part back and go, "It's Jeffries, not Jeffers." No, it's Jeffers. Oh, we got a AL leaders with Scooble, Barrios, and Seth Lugo all on the same card. Atlanta's own Jorge Soler. Nolan Arenado, and finishing this pack off with a Detroit's own Sweeney, Trey Sweeney. That pack was insane. Two more to go of the tops. And I think we'll finish off these two and then message him and make sure he's okay to go. All right. Stars of the MLB, Corey Seager with the Rangers. Anthony Volpe with New York, the Yankees, not the Mets, but the Yankees. Future stars, Pete Crow Armstrong. Had a double, triple, quadruple check. I was saying his name correctly. Dub and Drench for Boston. Yeah. Always in the morning. Always in the morning. You got the stuff he knows. Spencer Steer with the Reds. Washington's Jake Irving. We got another leaders pack here. National League leaders with Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler, and Shota Imanaga. Baltimore, Cedric Mullins. Miami's Sandy Alcantara. The Rangers, Josh Young. White Sox, Corey Lee. Yeah, what up? And finishing it off, Ranger Suarez with Philly. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. We're just kind of ripping through some while we're waiting on my co-host to be ready. All right. Stars of the Future, James Wood. John, get him out of here. Phillies Bryson Stott. Phillies Brandon Marsh. Listen, I understand you're trying to have some fun in the chat, but I'm not gonna buy no gift cards or nothing. Guardians rookie, Mr. Angel Martinez. Texas's John Gray. Minnesota's Royce Lewis. Vlad Guerrero Jr. once again. We got an AL leaders card here. Shohei Otani, or sorry, NL. My apologies. Shohei Otani, Marcell Ozuna, and Kyle Schwarber. Uh, Chicago team card. Another Diamondback coming up here, fellers. Geraldo Perdomo. Rookie card. Reese Hines with Cincinnati. Cincinnati's Hunter Green. And to finish off the 2025 top packs, Ted Williams, 35-year anniversary. Let me check my messages, and just in case we're ready to go. All right, wonderful. Well, he is ready. So, without further ado, go ahead and jump in here. Okay, great to know that we're ready. Welcome, Dad. Welcome, everybody. I'm working on it. Keeps having some issues. Keeps having issues. They can see me on my side. I know you won't be able to see me on yours, but it is what it is. We're working, trying to work through technical difficulties, but you did want it missing some wonderful packs being open. I got a 1 out of 5. I got a 1 out of 5 Tommy Edman. A 1 out of 5. Mm-hmm. Really? That's insane. No, I'm talking about a physical card, Dad. That would be probably a couple thousand. All right. Well, to get oh, we got something we got to do, folks. I was happy to start out the show with opening these packs. That was kind of fun. Appreciate it. All right. Well, without further ado, we got a whole list of we got a whole list of stuff that we want to going over. A lot of research done over the weekend, especially with the whole slew of guys who got signed this year, signed just this past week. We got a whole couple more weeks still waiting on that Aaron Rodgers signature to happen. Where he goes, who knows? But retirement, absolutely. All right, so just going over a few. Going to go jump right into the quarterbacks that were signed this past week, and then go on from there. So I looked over some of the more notable ones that happened. Justin Fields finally gets a chance, goes with the Jets, gets a chance to start brand new with the Jets after his short stint with the Steelers, getting barely any time to play because Russell Wilson had to get his starting time out there. Number one, biggest questions I had about it. Will the Jets build around him to be this future starting quarterback, or is he just a placekeeper for the future quarterback? Absolutely. I actually have to agree with you on that entire point there. Justin Fields definitely his short stint with the Steelers showed what he can do within a good decent organization. What type of quarterback he can be, what type of quarterback he will be. But definitely having that offensive coordinator in New York, definitely trying to build around his skill sets, definitely would be a great thing. Great thing for the young player. Hoping the best for him. Definitely hoping for the huge explosion. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, knocking on wood, maybe he'll help the Jets get back to the playoffs. Maybe. All right, so moving on from Justin Fields, one of the other big ones, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones getting signed and picked up. Gets a chance for a starting job. We're going to be seeing a huge competition between him and Anthony Richardson. The biggest question marks I saw out of that. Will he take the opportunity by the horns, win that starting quarterback battle, and be the starting quarterback for the Colts? Exactly. No, definitely. Anthony Richardson, seeing the play he's had over the past couple of years, under his rookie deal, um, it could go one of two ways for Daniel Jones. Again, like I mentioned, he could take the Bulls by the horns, show the talent he has, why he was picked where he was by the Giants. But at the same time, Daniel Jones is not a good enough quarterback. He maybe getting a little bit more time developing his game a little bit more might help him. But um yeah. Oh, you oh, hold on. Apparently technical difficulties. Give me a brief moment here. Why in the world is this thing that hold on, give me a sec here. Hold on, try
And
again and
then
talk.
I think,
Okay. Sean, is that better? Sorry, Sean's in the chat. Just let me know that there was some issues that they couldn't hear you at all. All right, wonderful. Now we can hear you.
oh,
Sorry.
you can hear me now?
Yeah, we couldn't hear you about the top.
Great.
Sorry, I didn't
I
realize
feel
that
so
was happening.
important. Yeah. No, it's all good. So I was just talking a little bit about Jacoby Brissett, the signing with Arizona. I thought that was really nice. And I think the other big domino we all can't wait to see fall. I just want to see where Jameis Winston lands. That
Jameis
boy, he
Winston.
needs to be in the NFL. Everybody loves this guy. He's a blast to watch, especially on the Super Bowl. That was entertaining as all can be. Um, I really like Jameis Winston. I think he's got a lot of talent. It's a shame That talent hasn't really gotten him to where he could have been. But I'd love to see him get one more shot, or at least land a prominent backup role.
Or at least another 30 for 30 season.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be great.
All right.
All right. Let's
So
talk about the big one. Let's talk about the big one at quarterback.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Great. Seeing him getting signed where he was, getting the opportunity to get to start for a team that just lost their starting quarterback up in Seattle. It's great to see him. I mean, the play he had last year with Minnesota, getting picked up by another cold climate team. Definitely great to see him go up to Seattle and be that starting quarterback. The huge question I have about this: who in the world is he going to throw to? You just lost DK Metcalf to a trade. Tyler Lockett got cut. Huge question marks when it comes to the receiver question, and even the tight end. So, are they going to go after a guy in free agency? Are they going to go after this next week? Are they going after another young guy in the draft? What in the world? Who is he going to throw to?
So, first of all, they've already addressed one of those, and we're going to talk about them in just a little bit. Cooper Kupp coming up to Seattle. I think that gives them their true possession receiver that every good offense has got to have. You've got Jackson Smith and Enigma. I think he is a great downfield threat. He's not going to have the weapons he had in Minnesota. In addition, I don't know that their offensive line is necessarily that much better than what he had at the end of the year in Minnesota. So we could see some of the same struggles early on for him. But this is a very friendly contract in terms of what quarterbacks are getting paid right now. 3 years, $100 million is not a huge investment at that position anymore. When you look at guys like Patrick Mahomes who are getting $60 million, Josh Allen getting $55 million, Joe Burrow, another $55 million. I think Seattle got a great bargain at quarterback, at starting quarterback. They were paying Geno Smith a little bit less, but I think Sam Darnold's an upgrade. Overall, I would say this is a very good move for that franchise. And congratulations to Sam, capitalizing on a great rebound year. A lot of people thought he was done. So seeing him succeed last year and turn that into money today, kudos to the man.
Absolutely. No, I was absolutely beyond happy to see the turnaround he had with Minnesota, coming into the situation where he wasn't touted to be the starting quarterback, where he was touted to be the backup to JJ McCarthy. They pick him up, and guess JJ McCarthy unfortunately goes down to the injury last year, done for the year. Sam Darnold steps in, becomes the general that they needed at quarterback. Now he takes his talents to Seattle. I can't wait to see what he does up in Seattle, especially with Cooper Kupp as his leading receiver out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think going into this week and just talking a little bit of futures as it pertains to the quarterbacks, Minnesota is going to be a very interesting team to watch. There's a lot of rumors that swirl around Aaron Rodgers. We all know that. Aaron's not going to be happy walking in somewhere where he's really going to be a backup. The only way I see Minnesota signing him is if they have good intel that JJ McCarthy won't be ready, because they're ready to move on with him. And there was an article on ESPN this week, and shout out to them. They've got one of the best crews in the game, where they basically said Minnesota has built a quarterback-proof team. They have so much talent on offense that they really feel like you can plug and play almost any quarterback and get great offensive results. So Aaron Rodgers will be fun to watch. And I already mentioned Jameis Winston will be fun to watch. We also don't know what's going to happen with Russell Wilson. I think his future is tied to whether or not the Steelers bring in Rodgers. So just a few more things to watch at quarterback this week.
Don't worry. I think he'll take his advice from Brett Favre and sign with Minnesota. Follow the dreams. Do a darkness retreat. Follow your mentor.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to
All
running
right.
backs. I know there's a lot. There's been a lot of signings from running backs this offseason and extensions we've seen too. One major
Yep.
extension that I saw coming out of Philly, your leading leading rusher last year, should have won the MVP. Saquon Barkley gets the extension he deserves to stay with the team that he had the most amount of success with so far in his career. That's a shot directly at the Giants. The
Yep.
real question is, will he be able to recreate the magic from last season?
Well, I think if you look at historically, running backs who rush for 2,000 yards don't do it again the next year. But Saquon Barkley is a generational talent, in my opinion, and he was definitely wasted in New York. He didn't have talent around him to be able to open up the holes that the Eagles did for him this past year. Offensively, I thought that they created such a great plan for him, got him the touches because he is their biggest star. But it is great to see a team go out and reward a player who doesn't. I mean, they had him under contract for 2 more years and didn't have to do a thing. But it was great to see them go out and reward him for what really was a historical season. So, again, shout out to Saquon. Great season, sir. Well done. It's good to see you get your just reward.
Absolutely. No, I think you brought up a really good point. I mean, 2 years already still under contract, but they knew that they had to keep him locked down for longer than those 2 years. So they did something smart than Cincinnati should have done a couple years ago with Jamar Chase, with T Higgins, get themselves signed to a
Ray
shorter term
Hutchinson,
deal. Of course, I'm saying that. Of course, I'm bringing that up
as
a
as
salty,
a
salty
Bungles fan,
Bengals
I hear
fan.
you. I
Yes.
hear you.
All right, so moving
um,
on. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me bring this one up real quick too. You brought up free agent re-signings. I thought the Vikings did a really smart thing in re-signing Aaron Jones. It's a 2-year, $20 million deal, 13 million guaranteed. Aaron Jones is a very good back still. He just hit that magical age of 30 that we all know about when it comes to not just running backs anymore, but wide receivers, it seems as well. I thought this was a really good signing at really good money. As the salary cap rises, everybody's looking to break the bank. Bringing Aaron Jones back for 2 more years at those numbers, outstanding move. Just keeps one more weapon in that offense for JJ McCarthy or whoever ends up under center.
Absolutely. Now of course going into the into the Bengals, picking up Samaje Perine. Gets to return to the team that he was drafted by, team he started with, has a chance to attempt to make a start. The biggest question: will he be able to make a big impact on the Bengals' running game, or is this just a step towards retirement?
I think he's a guy that's going to be part of a rotation. We see the rotations pretty much everywhere in the NFL these days. You don't really have those feature backs like you used to. You know, Saquon Barkley is a rare breed. Aaron Jones is a guy who can be on the field for 3 downs if you need him to. But more and more teams are going to that committee approach. I think he's a piece. I would not be surprised to see the Bengals spend a third or fourth round draft pick on a running back to try and add another piece to that puzzle. I don't expect Perine to make a big impact, but he does spell the starters when possible.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I mean, definitely having him in that rotation definitely will help out with Chase Brown. But more than anything, as you said, I mean, talking about running back the draft this year, I think the Bengals are going to be stupid. Ryan and I were talking about it a while back, moving up in the draft and getting Ashton Genty. Genty is a insanely good talent coming out. The guy who's touted to be the number one running back in the entire draft this year. The real question is, does he go early in the draft, mid draft, mid in the first round, late first round? Huge questions there.
I think if he makes it past number 6 and the Raiders, he could slide to as low as 20.
Oh yeah,
Whether or not anyone's going to spend draft capital to move up and take a running back in the first round remains to be seen. I'll be honest, I am not sold on Genty the way that a lot of people seem to be. I think he is a product of, of Boise State. He's a great talent, don't get me wrong, but I think he's a product of that offense. He's a product of the competition he played against. And I am not convinced that his game is going to translate to the NFL as well as everybody thinks it is. I've never been a big fan of spending an early draft pick on a running back. We all know my boy Mike and his love for the Cowpukes. Ask him how he feels about Ezekiel Elliott, and he'll tell you that if they spend that same pick this year to take Ashton Genty, he's going to burn it all. He's going to switch teams. He's going to switch loyalties. It's just it's traditionally proven if you're taking a running back in those top 10 picks, you're probably wasting a pick. You look at Atlanta, Bijan Robinson, he still hasn't tapped his potential that we all saw in the college game. It is just not smart football anymore to pick that high up.
absolutely. It's
Can the
all right
Bengals
though.
move up?
It's all right though. Jerry Jones is gonna get us the running back we need. Go.
Yeah. Will Cincinnati move up? They may not have to, is the point. I don't know that spending money on offense or spending a first round pick on offense is where they need to spend. I think that offense is just fine. If anything, I think spending that pick on the top available tight end might make more sense if you're going to do that, or spend on defense. That defense was a joke last year. That defense is why they missed the playoffs last year. That defense is why they almost didn't beat my Broncos.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree. I mean, defense definitely should be something that they should prioritize, not only in the off season with free agency, but as well with the talent coming in. The talent coming in with the draft. This draft is very
Yeah,
defense heavy, especially in the secondary.
yeah. I think realistically we'll touch more on the draft as we get just a little bit closer, but for now, that's my take on it. Is I'll be shocked if your Bungles go running back in the first round.
Absolutely. So moving forward after that, of course, talking about a former Bengal who wound up leaving in free agency. Thank the Lord, Khalil Herbert. He moves into an opportunity where he can rebound from a horrible 2024 season where he only rushed for 114 yards. The biggest question with that, especially with the Colts, will he be able to get a chance to start, or are they going to or are they going to stick with the sure hands of Jonathan Taylor?
If he somehow unseats Jonathan Taylor, it's because Jonathan Taylor blew out a knee. Jonathan Taylor is the talent on that team, and Khalil Herbert is just a piece. The last two guys we've talked about, these are piece guys, and I know they're your bungles. But realistically, for me, I think a bigger signing and a more interesting signing, Najee Harris to the Chargers.
Oh, that's true.
Najee, Najee Harris going to the Chargers, he's going to start for them. And he's always been a guy who gives out great effort. Uh, Pittsburgh's offensive line has been just, for lack of a better way of putting it, a joke the past couple of years, and they haven't been able to open the holes for him. I loved him as a rookie. I still think he's got a lot of football to give at the age of 27. Um, I actually think this might be one of the most overlooked signings, if that's possible. And he probably has at running back the biggest opportunity to put his name back amongst the top tier running backs with the signing in LA. Uh, I love this move for the Chargers, and I hate that because I'm a Bronco fan. But I love this move to get a talent that could come in and be the next Austin Eckler, because we all know how great that guy was in LA. Thank you for going to Washington, by the way. Thank you. I think Najee Harris coming to LA is going to be as close a move to the Saquon Barkley move as of last year as we're going to see from the running back class this year.
Exactly. All right. So moving past towards that, 'cause I absolutely agree with you. The got a little mascot coming in here. Mr. Peanut decides he wants to, or Mr. Peanut has to come in here. Peanut, come here.
It's all good. I sent Manny the Mexican Menace over to Grandma's house, so I don't have to worry about him today.
Yeah, he has to stay in here because Mom had a couple appointments. But anyway, moving forward towards the wide receivers of this entire insane offseason. Starting out, guy we've already talked about, kind of touchdown, Cooper Kupp, getting moved on from the Rams. Luckily gets to stay in the same division. Stays with Seattle. Gets a chance to be the number one wide receiver. Biggest question I had was, will Cooper be able to stay healthy and stay in Seattle in the long run?
Yeah, I love Cooper Kupp. Seeing him get injured was truly heartbreaking. But Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua, in my opinion, are one and the same. Really, you had two guys who are great route runners, are not big burners, and in today's age of football, young guys on a smaller contract at the same position are almost always going to win out against the older guys with any injury history. Cooper Kupp's going to do great things in Seattle, I think. Uh, if I'm the Rams, I'm a little scared to have to play him twice each year. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think he feels like he got cheated. I get the business side of it, but for the Rams, like, watch out. And the only
Absolutely.
thing that made this move possible is the fact that they went out and they spent money on a 32-year-old receiver that they are praying can recapture his greatness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just definitely think age is definitely starting to get to Cooper Kupp. Unfortunately, with the amount of injuries he's had just over the past couple years, I honestly see him starting about half the year before another unfortunate injury happens. But of course, I could be completely wrong. He could be completely healthy this year. He could be the number one answer for them. He could help them get back to the playoffs, but a lot of questions with his health still coming up to this day. So we'll just see what happens throughout the season and see if Cooper Kupp can be that number one guy out there.
Yeah.
So,
So on that note, let's talk about the guy that replaces him,
or that he
Davante
replaced.
Adams.
Oh, Davante Adams out with yeah.
2-year deal, $46 million, $26 million guaranteed. He's 32 years old, coming off a couple of just rough seasons between the Raiders and the New York Jets. Which Davante Adams are the Rams getting? Are they getting this guy that just couldn't seem to break loose in New York? Or are they getting the old Green Bay Packers Davante Adams that terrorized defenses? What are your thoughts?
Um honestly, Davante Adams is well past his prime. There's no way in the world he'll be definitely like a number 2, number 3 out there, but it's just it begs the question: is he gonna be explosive as he has been? Is he gonna be just? Is he gonna be great out there? That's the biggest question we have here.
The biggest thumbs up I'll give him is he is going to Sean McVay's offense.
That's true.
And if anyone can find a way to make a receiver great again, Sean McVay is probably that guy. That offense is built around getting the ball into multiple guys' hands. I think Davante Adams catching balls from Matthew Stafford. Anybody who is a true football fan has got to love this guy. I don't know that he makes them better than they were last year, but injury history that Cooper Kupp has got, and potentially has the ability to stretch the field a little bit more. So we'll see. I don't hate the signing, especially at the money that it was at. I don't love the signing because we don't really know, is Devontae on his way down. He reminds me a lot of DeAndre Hopkins in the sense that, he's a great receiver with a lot of history, to almost 10 years in the NFL, if not more. Just don't know if he's going to make the big impact. So.
Exactly. What? What do you want? Let me up there. No. You were on last episode. You're not getting back on. You better let me on there right now. Patrick, calm down. Calm down. All right, fine, Patrick. You'll get on the show. Can we talk about my receiver now? Why? Why? He's not going to have a huge impact for you guys. Why are we going to talk about Hollywood Brown? Because I told you so. But that's not going to happen. At a 5? You gave me 10 last week. I had to restructure my contract. Now take the money and talk about him. Fine. Hollywood Brown is washed. He's not going to have a big impact. There, you wanted me to talk about him? Fuck you.
Woo! That spiced up in a hurry.
Sorry, Patrick.
Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. He's just not consistent. And I get it. You got to fill a void. And now possibly another void because they may be losing their true burner after he was dumb. Allegedly. Let's not forget the word allegedly, dumb. Xavier Worthy, we'll have to see how this all plays out. So a 1-year contract, $11 million. That's next to nothing. Marquise Brown does have speed. He's still under the age of 30. And he gets to catch passes from I'm so sorry. Patrick Mahomes. This could be a good signing for both sides. We'll see. But the reality is the Chiefs have to sign guys at smaller contracts. They can't go after the top talent because they just don't have the money. Even though Patrick Mahomes keeps giving some back because he wants the dynasty, and I respect him for that. We'll see what happens with Hollywood. I don't see him making a huge impact, but prove me wrong.
I mean, considering how much time he had off last year with his injury and his PTSD from the injury, unfortunately he's just washed. There's no way he's going to be able to make it back. There's no way.
We'll see.
Sorry,
We'll
Patrick.
See.
Don't worry. Just don't worry, man. It's all right. You'll figure it out next year. Don't worry. Maybe you'll get a receiver in the draft. Don't worry. It'll happen.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
Moving on. Because little Mr. Peanut wanted to be on the screen.
Real quick. Before you move on from receivers, 2 names to watch, and we may be watching this for a little while. Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs. Diggs coming off another big injury. I do love Stephon Diggs. Everybody who is a Vikings fan, and I know I'm wearing my Broncos gear too, but I am a Vikings fan. Anyone who remembers the Minneapolis Miracle, you got to love this guy. I think he's a plague in the locker room, but he's a guy who can get things done on the field when he's healthy. Amari Cooper. Gosh, I wish this guy could just stay consistent.
Absolutely.
I think he thrives when he can be the guy. I just don't know that he's young enough, or I don't know that he can be the guy anymore. It'll be interesting to see if a team can find a way to slot him in. Watch these 2 guys. I think they'll be the 2 big names to come off the board next, and at wide receiver, and we'll have to see where they land. So
exactly. Yeah, we weren't moving on. We weren't moving off from the wide receivers. There's 2 bigger names that we still haven't touched on yet. Of course, Cooper Kupp going into Seattle replaces the guy who got traded out of Seattle. Biggest question mark trade: DK Metcalf going to the Steelers.
Which DK Metcalf do they get?
Exactly. I mean, he gets a chance to have an impact on the Steelers and hopefully make him help him get back to the get back to the playoffs. Couple questions: Who is going to be throwing him the ball? Will it be Aaron Rodgers?
Yep.
Will it
Yep.
be Will it be Russell
Russell Wilson.
Wilson? Will it be just huge question marks on who's going to be throwing the football out there? I believe it's going to be Mason Rudolph. Good old Rudolph. No.
No, I think that the reunion with Russell Wilson could be fun. DK Metcalf is a guy who came into the league and just made this instant explosion. He's an absolute beast. And for you older guys or people who may view this stream later on, thanks for the view. I'm going to throw a name out there that might ring a bell for you older guys. You young kids may not get this, but David Boston, on the Cardinals back in the 90s.
Oh, David Boston.
He was a physical freak. In the first couple years that he was in the league, nobody could stop him. He was just, he was incredible. And then all of a sudden he was gone. And DK Metcalf, for me, his career trajectory so far, and he just looks like the next David Boston. I don't know that going to Pittsburgh is going to change a whole lot for him, because Pittsburgh has always been about winning on defense and controlling the football, and they really don't take the big shots like they used to when they had Antonio Crazy Brown. We'll have to see. And you're right. Who's throwing them the football? We don't know.
Absolutely. No, yeah, definitely. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers definitely has a couple of questions to answer. Is he going to Minnesota? Is he going to Pittsburgh? I think he would thrive more on Pittsburgh's offense comparatively, especially with having still having Mike Tomlin out there. I mean,
if Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, he has to be okay with the fact that they're going to win football games on defense. And I'm not sure that, for me, at least my opinion, the only reason we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers sign is he's waiting to make sure Minnesota doesn't want him before he goes anywhere else. I think if Aaron Rodgers is going to go anywhere to try and make a name for himself and, to cement his legacy as a top quarterback, it ain't going to be Pittsburgh. If he goes to Pittsburgh, it's to win a championship at all costs. His numbers included. He reminds me right now a lot of Peyton Manning in his final year with the Broncos. Yeah, like one last shot at a ring is really what it would be about if he goes to Pittsburgh. Exactly. If he wants to try and make Pro Bowl numbers and things like that, I think the only real shot he's got there is New York as a Giant. They don't have any real weapons, which might be the only thing that keeps him out of there. In my humble opinion, Aaron, if you're listening, I have a dream. Hang him up, buddy. Go out on that retreat. Go enjoy that money that you've made. Go chase retirement. Exactly. Love you to death. I love the fact that you used to just make those cow puke fans cry every single year. Thank you. Time is coming.
If Mike were in here, he'd be having a field day and a back and forth argument with you. Anywho, moving on to the last receiver I had down. One of the more insane trades, Deebo Samuel for a 5th round pick? A 5th for Deebo? Goes into a great...
You gotta get something. You gotta get something.
Hi, sir.
And they did.
Understand you want to be on something. Camera and everything. Can you get out of my face, please? Sorry. He wants to make sure he's on camera. Anywho, he goes... Okay, sir, calm down. You're going to take my whole... Uh-oh. You're going to take my entire setup down, sir. Please. Come on now. You come here.
Yeah.
You come here.
Deebo going to Washington and getting to catch balls from Jaden Daniels. Hey, look, we haven't said it much. We haven't talked much about this team yet. watch out for Washington, man.
Absolutely.
They could be the second best team in the NFC this year. Could be. If not second, maybe third best. I look at the NFC East, and you've got Philly, who should return as the odds-on favorite. You've got Washington, who surprised everyone last year. You got the Pukes, who are going to be the Pukes, and you never know quite which Pukes you're going to get. By the way, I will never call them by their real name, not even on this podcast.
Exactly.
You got three teams right there that realistically could be playoff teams or could be total busts. I don't see Washington or Philly really taking much of a step back. Dallas, you just don't know because they're starting all over again. Will Dak be healthy? We don't know. But Washington is a great fit for Deebo Samuel, and he is a great fit for Cliff Kingsbury.
Exactly.
Look out for that offense this year. And Deebo Samuel, of all the wide receivers that have moved this year, he could be the guy. So good luck, Deebo.
That's definitely one of the things I had questions about with Deebo. I mean, he goes to a team with an electric young quarterback who will definitely be able to help him get the ball a lot more. The huge question I had about him is, will he become the number one receiver in Washington, and can he turn around his numbers from 2024? Me personally, with the pair out there, especially as well when you got to think about scary Terry McLaurin. You got to question: are they going to keep him the number one receiver? Are they going to move him to the number two with Deebo, or are they going to be different like they had with San Francisco and put him in at running back?
I think the great thing about Deebo Samuel is he can play almost anywhere. And that's what is such a great and interesting fit here is you got Cliff Kingsbury, who even Cardinal fans will tell you offensively, he found a way to get the most out of Kyler Murray that we've seen so far. Cliff Kingsbury is an offensive mind who now has one more weapon, and he will find lots of different ways to involve Deebo in this offense. I think this is a great, great pairing. I think Deebo's going to move around a lot. With Deebo on that field, Terry McLaurin could be the biggest beneficiary of all. He's going to stop seeing as many double coverages as he saw last year. Not that it mattered much. He's that good. Anytime you add another weapon to true talent, everybody seems to benefit. So
Exactly. Now
I
there
can't wait to see what Cliff has in mind.
Agreed. Now, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of tight end news coming as
Woo!
far as signings. Not a whole lot from what I've seen. So I really didn't touch too much. Oh boy, he has something to
I'll
say
touch.
about tight ends.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Denver bringing Evan Ingram in. How do you not love this move? Um, Denver has a shortage at receiver, although I don't think Denver's really built to have a single star. I think that Sean Payton has done an amazing job building an offense full of names that you probably didn't think a lot about. Cortland Sutton,
Bo
in my
Nix.
opinion, is Cortland Sutton is never going to live up to what what you would expect out of a first round draft pick. He's a good receiver, and it's hard to say that as a Bronco fan. He's a good receiver, but he's no Demaryius Thomas. He's no Rod Smith. He's no Ed McCaffrey. He's no take your pick of first round draft picks out there at receiver. He's not those guys. He's not going to be a guy who just burns you every time. He's not a Randy Moss, but he's a good piece to the puzzle. Vele, he looked great last year. You give Bo Nix another outlet guy. You give Bo Nix another receiver that can move the ball down the field. Evan Ingram was a great signing for the Broncos just to give Bo Nix one more weapon. The real question, and we didn't mention this name, I'll mention him now. Javonte Williams goes to the Pukes. And that hurts a little bit right here, but Javonte Williams going there. He'll be their starter. Rico Dowdle out, unless they draft a running back and we watch a guy burn all of his cow puke stuff. He'll be the starter there. I don't think he's a 3-down back anymore. I think he took too much punishment the first few years of his NFL career. But it means there's a hole to fill there. Will Denver draft a running back? We'll see. So giving Bo Nix Evan Ingram just gives them one more way to move the ball down the field if they're not able to get that top running back in the draft at number 20. If he slides to 20 and they take him, I'm not going to burn my gear. But Evan Ingram's a good piece.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely seeing Ingram get signed over there definitely is a wonderful sight to see, especially after his very very lackluster performances out with Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a terrible team. Just what was it? 1 or 2 years removed from the playoff appearance that they had. Just it's sad to see how far they've fallen, but who knows? With Evan Ingram finally coming into a good offensive, and this is one I'll say: Broncos definitely have a good offensive scheme out there, especially with bringing in bringing in Sean Payton, bringing him in. But yeah, definitely seeing him go there is going to be great for Evan Ingram's career in general.
Yep, I agree.
All right, now the fun part, the part of the offense that no one talks about. People barely remember the trenches. I had a few written down. One, of course, I need to laugh at as a Bengals fan. One I will forever laugh at. The Raiders. Alex Kappa gets a chance to start, for a team that didn't, protect the quarterback very well this year. The biggest questions I had: can he be a more consistent blocker? Now, before you answer, Dad, I already have the answer. Good luck, Raiders!
I think you're right. And a lot of times it comes down to scheme when it comes to these linemen. And truly, pretty much any player at any position, sometimes you have to find the scheme that fits the player and the player that fits the scheme. I don't know that Kappa's going to make a huge impact in Oakland. I think it's a nice signing. It's an upgrade. So we'll have to see. And I think it's going to be important that they protect Geno Smith if they're going to get anything out of Geno Smith. So I don't hate it at all. We'll find out.
Exactly. No, of course, me, having, me being a Bengals fan, seeing what he did last year over his entire tenure with the Bengals, Alex Kappa's not going to be the guy that helps protect their future quarterback out there, especially with, God, who's their new starting quarterback?
You're probably more than
Geno? Yeah. I have a lot more knowledge about Alex Kappa's offensive skills than most people, and I have to say Alex Kappa was probably one of the worst signings by the Bengals when they got him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So moving on from the laughingstock of Alex Kappa, Laremy Tunsil gets himself a good contract, gets a block again for the most electric quarterback from last year with Washington. Biggest question I had about him is definitely about his injuries. Will he be able to play all 17 games this year again, or will his injury concerns resurface?
I think Laremy Tunsil is one of those guys that, first of all, I don't have the mask to put on. We don't have the mask. Going back to his draft day, Laremy Tunsil, I think, is definitely he's a talent on the offensive line, and he has lived a very interesting NFL career. Getting traded from Miami to Houston, getting a big contract there. Then he gets traded from Houston now to Washington, gets a big contract there. Laremy Tunsil is a great signing. You're gonna have injuries in the NFL. What you look for is that they're not repeating. Laremy Tunsil to come in and block in Washington for Jaden Daniels. I love it. like, how can you not love this? Anytime you're making an improvement on the offensive line, it's going to be a positive. Uh, I like that Washington is spending on offense and building on offense around this young quarterback. I hope Jaden Daniels doesn't get that sophomore slump in him. I don't think he will. I think Jaden Daniels might be this next generational quarterback talent. Uh, we'll see. But Laramie Tunsil is going to block for him. Laramie Tunsil's going to protect him. And Laramie Tunsil is probably going to even help to improve that running game. Washington's offense got better this offseason. And as long as their defense doesn't take a step back, which I don't expect, I think Washington could be, again, one of those top 3 teams to beat.
Yeah, it's just great to know that they finally got another hog in there. Anywho, moving on, Minnesota getting Will Fries. Great pickup for Minnesota.
Interesting signing. Now, let me touch on this first, and then you can follow up. Breaking his leg week 5 of 2024. It's always scary to have an offensive lineman coming back from such a big injury. That said, he was one of the most improved guards in all of football, hands down, before this injury. If he can come back and not have injury issues this year, their offensive line failed them the end of last year, and a lot of that was due to injuries. Fries is an upgrade. If he stays healthy, JJ McCarthy has an offensive line that's going to block for him and give him time to get that ball out. This Minnesota really doesn't look like they're taking a huge step back outside of the question marks at quarterback. So keep an eye there too.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those big things. I mean, just the injury concerns with Will Fries definitely was something I was looking at too. But definitely, I'm hoping after him coming back from said injury, hopefully he'll be able to have a rebound year. And who knows, maybe, of course, maybe for the first time in forever, we'll see an offensive lineman win Most Improved Player, Comeback Player of the Year. But it's highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. Pipe dream.
No.
Really wish. Or who knows? Maybe Will Fries will be able to go and have a good enough time blocking for JJ McCarthy to help his quarterback get Comeback Player of the Year. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens next year.
JJ McCarthy can't be a comeback player of the year when he never played a down in the regular season. I'm hopeful that the Vikings can continue to do great things, even with he's his second year, but a rookie quarterback at the helm. I hope they don't go out and sign Aaron Rodgers. Guys, if you're listening, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm rooting for him.
Absolutely. So moving on to one that you and I definitely had a conversation about even beforehand, D-line. The D-line.
D-line.
Couple guys I had down. Couple guys you had down too. This one might be a little bit longer. I had it narrowed down to 3. We might talk about all 5. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. I want to start out with Joey Bosa going up to Buffalo after his inconsistencies with the Chargers this past year. I mean, it's a great move for the Bills, getting a younger guy, hopefully be able to fit into that defensive scheme. But my main question, of course, with the new defensive scheme, will he be able to be more consistent in that new scheme?
The thing about Buffalo is they build through depth. And if you're asking Joey Bosa just to come in and potentially be a pass rusher, this might work out pretty well for him. We'll have to see. My concern with Joey Bosa has always been injuries. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't know that anything is going to change there. But again, if you're putting him into a positional or a situational role where he can come in just as a pass rusher, that might give him the opportunity to stay healthy and the opportunity to thrive in terms of just simple statistics. Can he pressure the quarterback? Can he get to the quarterback? Not a terrible signing, especially it's a 1-year, $12 million deal. Like a bargain if he can get to the quarterback and stay on the field.
Exactly. No, yeah, definitely agree. I mean, with definitely with Joey Bosa, it's more about the injuries. Will he be able to stay healthy? And of course, like I said, stay consistent with this, with coming into the new defensive scheme, learning something different with a different set of defense. It's it's a huge question mark. Now one of the guys I know that you had down to was Jonathan Allen. The signing of Jonathan Allen. So definitely go ahead and touch on that. Because that was one guy I didn't even look at myself. So
Real quick before I touch on that, I want to stay out on the edge for a second. Josh Sweat coming to Arizona.
oh yeah,
I don't think Josh Sweat was a huge name until the Super Bowl all over again. He was a big name when he signed or when he was drafted. But coming to Arizona, the biggest hole that team has or had was as pass rusher. Um, Sweat had 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl. He dominated the Super Bowl. Is this the guy you're going to get every down? Maybe not. Was it a case of they play that rotation there? But he can rush the passer, and he's only 28 years old. A 4-year, 74 million or $76 million deal, only $41 million guaranteed. I think this is a very, very good move for Arizona. That defense needed some playmakers. Josh Sweat is a playmaker, and he is a stud when he's given the chance to thrive. He might become an every down player. Very well may. Will it translate here in Arizona the way it did in the off or the defense in Philadelphia? Don't know, but it's definitely not a bad move at all. So
yeah, it's definitely a great move for Arizona. I 100% agree with you
yep.
there. I mean, knowing their inconsistencies last year, not just on offense but as well with defense, getting Josh Sweat coming out here definitely is a great move by the Cardinals. So since we're sticking with the edges here, we have a couple other guys that I looked at too, that were
Yep.
requesting trades this past off season, and they got paid the big bucks. Starting out with Myles Garrett out with the Browns. I mean, he gets paid to stay with the team. He was having frustrations with demanding that trade because they weren't winning games.
Funny how $40 million can change that.
Exactly. They paid him $40 million. I mean, unfortunately for the Bengals, now that he's the highest paid non-quarterback. Here come the Bengals trying to get Jamar on a $40 to $41 million contract. That's besides the point. Myles Garrett. I mean, the real question I had for biggest one I had for him, is he going to re-request a trade if the Browns will stay inconsistent and miss the playoffs over the next 2 to 3 years?
I think Myles Garrett got paid, and a lot of times when you request a trade, no matter what you say it's about resetting the market. Myles Garrett, we all remember him smashing heads with a helmet. Myles Garrett is pretty much the best at his position. And him getting paid the kind of money that he just got paid, I think you'll see him keep his mouth shut for a couple of years. He'll probably play out the contract that he's got in Cleveland unless they choose to trade him. I always hate seeing a guy who is that good get locked up on a team that is that bad.
Yeah, it's almost like the pictures you see online all the time. You got the nice Maserati, the Lamborghini in the trailer park. That's the
Yep.
number one thing I'll always think of with Myles Garrett and a lot of these other pass rushers too. I mean, for another great
Yep.
example, Max Crosby, who I was definitely going to get into here. I mean, Max, he stays with the same team that he began with, stays in the same scheme that was built around him. But definitely, the big question is with him too. I mean, is he going to be able to play all 17 games? Is he going to stay
Right.
healthy and play them all?
Oh, an interesting rumor that came out, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but it was posted as a rumor. Um, Seattle, when they first talked to Los Angeles about the possibility of sending Geno Smith to LA, not I'm sorry, Las Vegas. When they first spoke to him, rumor was it was Geno Smith and DK Metcalf or Max Crosby, and the Raiders came back and said, not going to happen. He isn't going anywhere. We're not trading him. Max Crosby is a lot of fun to watch. And you're right, you always got to worry about injuries. You worry about injuries with every player at every position in this physical game. Um, but Max Crosby, again, one of those guys, one of the best in the business at his position. He changes games the way that Von Miller used to change games for the Broncos. Um, it's tough to see him stay in my division. Nothing but mad respect for that man, though. That man can play some football. Will he stay on the field for 17? Probably not. You'll have little ticky tack injuries, probably miss a couple here and there. But Max Crosby staying there and getting paid, well deserved.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely well deserved. I mean, he still has a lot of upside, So it's definitely down to see what he's gonna do next year. Now moving on to the guy on the inside of the line, the guy that you wanted to talk about more than anything, Jonathan Allen leaves
Yeah, I
Washington,
think.
comes out to Minnesota.
Yep. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see which Jonathan Allen the Vikings get this year. He was one of the best at his position for a long time. And the Commanders, I think, knew they weren't going to be able to re-sign him and do what they wanted on offense, in terms of money and improving that side of the ball. They went looking for trade partners. Nobody was willing to trade for him. Give me one brief moment. Um, give me 1 second. Sorry, I got to take this call.
Okay. So while he's on that conversation there, with Jonathan Allen, definitely him getting picked up by Minnesota definitely is a great thing overall. Um, majorly for Minnesota. I mean, definitely that's one of the things that they needed. Um, I mean, his numbers definitely weren't the best with Minnesota, or sorry, with Washington. I mean, through the regular season, only 19 total tackles, 3 sacks. Um, he, and I mean, he did perform fairly well in the postseason, but definitely the biggest question is, what are they going to get? What Jonathan Allen are they going to get? I absolutely agree with him on that point there. And once he gets back, I'll let him finish his point. What you doing, little guy? Sorry, he keeps adjusting himself in his seat, and I.
Okay, sorry about that. The crew desperately needing drinks. All right. Just going back to Jonathan Allen, if they get the guy who dominates at his position, 3-year, $51 million deal with a max value of 60 million, like again, a bargain for a guy who can change the inside of the defense, who can clog up holes, who can disrupt quarterbacks, who can push centers back into the quarterback. Guys like that are a rare breed. Now he is 30. Defensive line, 30, 31, 32. That's where we start to see the decline. Um, I'm hoping for the Vikings' sake that's the Jonathan Allen they get, is the guy who changes games, not the guy that's on the decline and not the guy who is potentially going to get injured along the way. So I really think great signing for the Vikings. Stopping the run is a big part of what they do defensively. They brought back Byron Murphy Jr. at corner, which I thought was a great move by them. If their defensive line can hold up and get to the quarterback, it just makes the corners that much better. So I thought that was one of the biggest signings in the trenches so far.
Exactly. All right, so moving forward from the trenches, going into the linebackers that got signed most recently, Cody Barton was one that I had down. He definitely goes to a team that is a linebacker needy. The big question with him, will he be able to step into a certain linebacker position and lift up the Titans defense? Honestly, in my opinion, they need anything and everything that they can get in order to lift up that defense from what was it, the first or second worst record last year?
Well, Tennessee had the worst record because that's how they earned that number one overall draft pick. Yeah, Tennessee just needs playmakers. They need anything that they can get, any help they can get. Uh, I think it's a good signing for them. Any signing was likely going to be a good signing for them. I don't know that he's as big a name or as big a game changer as some of the other linebackers that got signed, but it definitely doesn't hurt that Tennessee team.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean anything and everything they need right now, both offense and defense. But definitely getting some defensive starters will definitely help them out overall, especially with a linebacker like Cody. So moving forward, another guy that we saw come back into the commies system and get re-signed, Bobby Wagner. He was able to play consistently all last year in order to get the extension that he was wanting, in the extension that he deserves. The big question is, will he be consistent enough to get a long-term deal out there?
No, I think Bobby Wagner is going to be a guy that the rest of the way you're looking at, 1 year deals. And he maintains level of play. When will age catch up with him? He's not the same guy that was in Seattle. He's just not, and that's the reality. He is a good linebacker still. I hate him because we had that 43-8 shellacking. I hate him because of that, but again, a guy you can't help but respect. He has built a career around being a guy who can play center field in that middle of the defense. He's a great defensive captain. He calls the plays out. Bobby Wagner is not the same game changer he was, but he is still a very, very good linebacker and will do a great job of continuing to help that Commanders defense play the way they do.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you on that one. And I do have to agree with the whole the Bobby Wagner thought. With him just doing what he can, getting the smaller term deals and 1 year deals. Who knows? I mean, who knows in the future? It could be that he, next couple years he's bouncing around at different teams and may go back on a 1 year deal, or sorry, 1 day deal with Seattle, so we can retire a Seahawk.
Yeah,
Just a
when he
lot of
does retire,
questions.
it will be a Seahawk for sure. And again, kudos to the man. He's been one of the best at his position for a very long time, and that's the only place he should retire. So
Exactly.
now, my turn. My turn. If we're
Oh
going to talk
boy.
linebackers, we got to talk about my team. My team. You know who I'm talking about, right? You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, we're
Hey,
talking
before we
about.
even mention his name, what was that one movie where one day out of the year you could go around and you could kill anyone and it was okay?
The
And
Purge?
uh, the Purge. That's kind of what's going on in San Francisco right now is the Purge. And thank you for Dre Greenlaw. Thank you. Um, so excited to see him in the middle of that defense for the Denver Broncos. He looked ferocious. He came back last year. That was the word that I saw on NFL.com's talking about the top free agents at each position. He looked ferocious when he came back last year, coming off the big injury in 2024, torn Achilles in the Super Bowl the year before. But he looks back. And Dre Greenlaw coming to Denver. Sean Payton's defense is starting to look like those old New Orleans Saint defenses that just dominated football. And it's been a couple of years building under Sean Payton out here in Denver. And for the first time in a really long time, I'm ready to say, watch out, KC. Watch out. This may not be your division anymore.
I hear
You guys
talking shit.
Hey, Kermit, shut it. You guys eked out more wins last year than you deserved. You got lucky more times than you deserved. You shouldn't even have been in the damn Super Bowl last year. Denver's defense and the improvements in LA for the Chargers. And this division is up for grabs. Is there a tougher division in football than the AFC West right now?
AFC
I don't
North.
think so. No.
No,
No.
AFC North definitely is more of a challenging division. You got the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers in the same division. The Browns just happen to be there. It's kind of similar.
Okay, so we got KC, we got Denver, we got the Chargers, and the Raiders who happen to be there. They made improvements too. Like Cleveland didn't improve. Cleveland got, in my opinion, worse. We'll see. Cleveland didn't improve. Cincinnati, this is their last shot. Let's be honest. This is it for them. If they don't do it this year, they ain't going to do it because they can't afford to do it.
That's very true.
AFC West, baby.
One.
Anyway,
All
Dre
right.
Greenlaw to the center of that Denver Bronco defense with the improvements that they just continue to make. And we'll talk safety in a minute. Dre Greenlaw is going to be a beast. Watch for it.
Now, there was one other guy I had on here, but I'm going to go ahead and skip past Akeem. Akeem's a great player, but, I mean, he's not really one of the guys that a lot of people were looking at anyways.
Yeah.
So
a lot of re-signings at linebacker, and I think that's just proof of how important linebacker is. A lot of guys re-signing with their existing teams, or maybe proof that maybe the market wasn't what they thought it might be. But overall, I think the two big names that we brought up are probably the class of the field. So
exactly. So moving on to corners, the shutdown men themselves, starting out.
Yep.
I'm going to start out with the one guy that was a huge question mark for me and for a lot of people, seeing him getting a re-sign. Jaycee Horn. Okay, fine, you're up here. Are you happy? That's one that I had a whole lot of question marks about. Stays with the Panthers, where he had the most amount of success. The big question mark I had about this. Is he worth the money?
The thing about cornerback is they're going to get their money regardless. If they're able to play the game and they're anywhere in the top tier, or anything near what they call a shutdown corner, these corners are going to get paid. And you can't afford to let corners walk in this league unless you have a plan to replace them. We see it every year. Somebody gets paid that maybe isn't in that top tier, and you're wondering how. That's how. So, will he continue to improve? Will he shut down half the field? Probably not. But is there somebody else that they felt they were going to be able to sign to replace him? Might not have been the case.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the corners out there at the start of the free agency period definitely wasn't a lot of guys you were looking into. So definitely getting an extension for him. There was one guy that came onto the free agency market, unfortunately, because of a cap saving move by the Eagles. Darius Slay. When he came into the free agency, there was a lot of teams that were vying for the opportunity to get his services. And the Steelers won out. The Steelers, I mean, they have a lot of need when it comes to corner, a lot of questions, and he can definitely help bolster that Steelers defense. Will he be able to solidify that secondary though? I mean, you already have a great guy with what's his name, Fitzpatrick. You got a great guy out there, but I mean, there's not a whole lot you have out there with Pittsburgh. So definitely getting Darius Slay coming in there would definitely help out the Steelers in the long run for the season.
Darius Slay is a great product of a great defense. And Darius Slay played very well before in Detroit. He fit very well in Philly. Going to Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin's defenses, we all know about them. There's one guy in this league that is a guarantee to win 9 games or more every year, and that's Mike Tomlin. Like you don't bet against him, and his defenses typically are very, very good. Darius Slay to Pittsburgh, I think it's a good fit. I think it's a great piece. Darius Slay is not a guy that I think is going to dominate any particular position anymore, but in the right scheme, he looks better than he probably is at this point in his career. So good signing in my opinion.
Absolutely. Now, the last one I kind of looked at here was Carlton Davis. Definitely steps onto another team that has a lot of needs at corner, especially with their young crew out there. The thing is he going to be able to step into a starting role with the Pats?
You don't spend 3 years and $80 million on a guy if you're not planning to start him. I think he starts.
Absolutely.
He's a great man-to-man coverage guy. He was amazing in his previous role playing man-to-man, and that's what the Patriots want to be able to play. I think he's probably the top signing for me at least in terms of a guy who can change a defense. 3 years, $80 million to the Patriots. I think New England gets better with this signing. They don't get better on the offensive side of the football, which is where I think they need the most help. But we'll see. Gerard Mayo couldn't get it done last year. Does this signing change really anything for him? Highly doubtful. We'll just have to wait and see what the Patriots can do.
Exactly. So moving forward from corners, there's a lot of safeties getting picked up as of recent. Couple of them I definitely was looking at from the signings that ultimately happened. Eric Murray definitely goes to a team with a lot of needs on defense, and definitely can make an immediate step into a starting role. The huge question marks I had about him: can he stay healthy, and can he be better in coverage and produce for the Jaguars?
Can he stay healthy? We said it before. I'll say it again. Injuries happen. There's never any guarantees. Some guys are a little more prone to injuries than others. Can he make an impact on the Jaguars? Well, somebody's going to have to.
Exactly.
I still don't get the love fest with Trevor Lawrence, other than the fact he looks like what was the guy, Sonny from Remember the Titans? He's a pretty man. I don't get the love fest. Nothing against Trevor Lawrence, but there are quarterbacks all throughout the league who have numbers almost identical to him that we wonder why they're starting quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys for me that he may not make the same big mistakes that some of the others do, but he's not producing playoffs. He's not producing wins. He's not changing games. I don't know that this is going to fix him.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, a lot of question marks, especially out with Jacksonville. A lot of defensive holes that they need to get filled. But definitely getting Eric Murray out there is going to fill up a hole that they needed at safety. I'm just hoping that this year he stays healthy, especially to help out the Jags in every way that they need. So moving past Eric Murray, another guy I had down was Javon Holland. Steps onto, I'm gonna say it a lot here. That he steps into a team that, that needs a more consistent defense. And another question I had about him was definitely just the health. Um, Injuries happen, like you had mentioned prior, so it's just another hope that he stays healthy to help out a team that needs more of a consistent defense.
Yeah, Javon Holland is a guy that I think, again, he's a guy who can help a defense that was definitely in need. I don't know that he's a game changer. I think he's a fit. I think he could could impact that defense. The Giants need help. The Giants need help.
Absolutely.
I don't know that he fixes much.
He doesn't,
We'll have to wait
honestly.
and see.
Yeah. It's definitely another one that's a wait and see type of thing, but I mean, there's so many more holes that are needed to be filled out in New York, other than just the safety position. But moving on from Javon, another one that we saw, Justin Reed, getting signed, steps onto a new team, brand new, new defensive scheme. The main question I had, can he show out and become that starting safety for the Saints?
He will be the starting safety for the Saints. He's a guy that he's, be it the Texans or the Chiefs. Justin Reed is a game changer back there in the defensive backfield. He plays the game so well. He's so incredibly smart. And again, as a Bronco fan, thank you for not staying in Kansas City. We appreciate you. Good luck in New Orleans. Watch out for the levee breaking. Um, Justin Reed to the Saints, 3 years, 31.5. You don't see a whole lot of safeties at guaranteed money at the age of 28. Justin Reed's an exception. I think Justin Reed going to New Orleans is going to help to stabilize one more defense.
Absolutely.
New Orleans needs the help on defense, and I think he's a good fit. So,
Absolutely. So that comes to the end of the free agency signings. Oh,
no, no, no,
oh
no, sir.
boy.
We have to talk about the purge again.
Oh
We have
boy.
to talk about the purge. Talanoa Hufanga coming to Denver. Again, purge. Thank you, San Francisco, for putting yourself in a position where you drafted Mr. Irrelevant. He turned into a guy who's going to need 45 to 50 million dollars a year. This is the product of being a good team for too long. San Francisco, they were tough to beat. They were really tough to beat. Now we're seeing them lose talent because of it. Hufanga comes to Denver, 26 years old. Um, I love the way he hits hard. He reminds me of the Steve Atwaters. For us Bronco fans, Steve Atwater, and the crushing hit of Christian the Nightmare Okoye. Um, he reminds me of that type of player. He's a guy that could step in and replace Justin Simmons and make us not cry so much that we lost Justin Simmons. We were already a really, really good defense last year. Uh, his hard hitting style, his run stopping, will help this defense as well. If he can not take the big risks that have cost him games in his career because of injuries, if he can buy into Sean Payton's system, man, 3 years, 45 million, 20 million guaranteed. That's a bargain at safety, especially for a young guy like this. I think Hufanga could, again, just continue to improve great defense. And Vance Joseph has got to be excited getting these two playmakers out of San Francisco.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you. The fire sale out there in San Francisco. I don't think the fire sale's over. They're definitely going to move on from a lot more guys. They're not going to
Absolutely.
pick up a whole lot. They're not going to be active in free agency this year. They'll definitely be more active in the draft this year more than anybody else. But definitely
Yep.
the fire sale's not done, folks. Just keep your eyes out.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled. You're going to see a lot more people get cut from there. So
John
the
Lynch,
other,
by the way, real quick, John Lynch, one of the best GMs in football. What he built in San Francisco and what he's going to have to rebuild as a result of having to pay Brock Purdy. John Lynch is one of my all-time favorites as a player and now as a GM. I think he is potentially one of the best GMs in football. So shout out to John Lynch.
absolutely agree with you there. Okay, so kind of coming down to the final little bits that I had down, and then we'll get into the fun stuff because I got more packs to open here, folks. So that's probably how we'll finish off the stream. So other major stories coming out. Bengals are making significant progress on new deals for Jamar and for T.
Say goodbye to Trey Hendrickson.
Of course, Trey Hendrickson's one of the guys that we're hoping he comes back off and says, you know what, I don't want to trade. You guys got the long-term deals done. Maybe mine will be next, but hopefully with Jamar and with T, they'll be able to make. Hopefully, T won't be requesting far too much. I know Jamar is going to be requesting at least 41, but as a Bengals
He's going to
fan,
want to be the highest paid.
well,
He's going to want to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the game.
Absolutely.
Nothing less is going to satisfy him. And they're going to have to burn another franchise tag come next year when they can't get the long-term deals done. Mark my words.
I can definitely see it happen. I could see T Higgins not wanting to play on the franchise tag until the long-term deal is done. This is his second one he's on. Makes you think about the Steelers when they had Le'Veon Bell and they kept putting him on the franchise tag until they trade him for nothing. So,
Yep.
And the final piece I looked at, couple of the Bills free agency additions. Two of them are looking at some trouble. Mike Hoach and Larry Ogunjobi. Both of them are facing a 6-game suspension for PED violations. I don't know why in the world people do it. It dumbfounds me every single time when it comes to the thought of somebody having to use performance-enhancing drugs to play the game of football. It makes no sense. Never has, never will to me. But we'll have to see what happens. But definitely, I can see both of them appealing. Mike Hoach and Larry Ogunjobi. Unfortunately, though, I see them both, their suspension sticking.
All right, do me a favor before we sign off. Give me your winners, your top 2-3 teams that have won free agency.
Ooh, good question. So far, let's see. Hold on, let me pull up the other notes I had down here.
Right here. You can say the first one right here.
Denver.
Right here.
Definitely Denver has won thus far. Don't worry, everybody. He paid me to say this. But seriously, the Broncos definitely have done a lot to help make their improvements with their teams. It's great to see Denver becoming the greatness that they need to be. Oh, well, other news just came out right now. Mekhi Becton just got himself a 2-year deal with the Chargers at $20 million. And
signing.
Yep. And then Kyle Juszczyk, after getting cut by the 49ers to test free agency, not too long after, guess what? He got signed. 2-year, $8 million.
And congratulations to him. I love that guy. He's one of my all-time favorite fullbacks outside of, maybe Mike Alstott. And seeing him get to go back to the team that he has called home, it's always nice to see a fan favorite get to stay with the team that they belong on. So
absolutely. But other than the Broncos, uh, so far, I gotta say, I'm not gonna say Pittsburgh. Goodness, no, I'm not gonna do that. As a Bengals fan, I could never do that. Houston definitely has done a lot so far. Just the additions that they've made. Um, they definitely, I see the Texans being another team that has won free agency so far. You got Christian Kirk in that trade for a seventh. He's not the best, the best receiver to have. He wasn't worth the money, but still, either way, you only got him for a seventh. You see him stepping into third or fourth, and his their trade for Ed Ingram from the Vikings for a sixth. Lincoln Tomlinson with his his 1 year $4.25 million. Um, Great additions to the offense, even greater additions to the defense with the trade for C.J. Gardner Johnson just for a 2026 sixth. Just the additions they've made so far, it's definitely going to help improve that team. Um, and other than them and the Broncos, of course, I gotta say the Raiders too. I mean, honestly, the additions they've made at quarterback with the trade, with the the restructure or not the restructure, but the extension with Max Crosby. Um, so far, I mean, again, it's funny to say the winner of free agency. Um, it's funny to even think about it because, of course, you can win free agency, but that doesn't mean you're going to win games. So that's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I'll bring up the Rams. I think they know they have a very short window with Matthew Stafford. I like that they made moves to try and improve. Let's be honest, they were a play or two away, from being in the Super Bowl last year. They're trying to do things to give them weapons, to give them one more shot to get back there. Like that team is near the top and makes moves to try and improve and try and get to the promised land. As a fan, you got to be excited about that. Minnesota as well, bringing in Jonathan Allen and re-signing Byron Murphy Jr. Um, it'll all come down to JJ McCarthy, whether or not JJ can be close to as good as Sam Darnold, and whether or not they've shored up that offensive line enough
Keep
in
him
order to
healthy
win the
all year.
games they
Yeah,
lost last year.
exactly.
The NFC got tougher, in my opinion, and I think you're going to see that this year. There's the haves and the have-nots, and I think there's the haves got better, the have-nots didn't really do much. So for me, those are probably the two big teams that I felt like did the most to try and get over the hump. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the football free agency for the week. Of course, there's still other signings going on today. That'll be a part of next week's episode. But I'm going to go ahead, transition back over, jump out of here, and open up these basketball packs. So, Dad, I appreciate you for being here for first episode in a while. Hopefully,
yeah,
definitely see you, for more early mornings. But yeah, I'll catch you later. Talk with you later.
yeah. Hope, hoping the schedule allows for it because I really do enjoy this. To anyone who does view or people who are in watching, thanks so much for your attendance. We'll continue to try to give you fun content to dispute and disagree with and tell us how we're done. So
All right, I'll catch you later, Dad. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? All right, so as promised, we're gonna end off with the pack opening, and once we're done with the pack opening, I'll send us off for the night. So appreciate everybody who's come so far to see the very beginning where I started started to open the packs. And I appreciate everybody who stuck around to listen to an old guy and his son rant about football for a while. So to start everything off with the first pack, we got the Nuggets, Russell Westbrook, or Westbrook as I used to call him, and still call him to this day. Uh, Cam Thompson, Cameron Thomas. Kelvin Johnson with the Nets. Brooklyn. The Spurs. Jesus. Bradley Beal with the Suns. Hate him. Hate him. Isaiah Stewart with the Pistons. Kuzma with Washington. Brandon Miller with the Hornets. Kyle Anthony with the Magic. Rookie card, Tyler Kolek with the Knicks. Cool Steph Curry card there. That's a cool card. Rookie card, Jalen Wells with the Grizzlies. We got Peyton Pritchard with Boston. Got a good old rookie card, Sky View for Ron Holland II with Detroit. Got ourselves a Jamal Murray with Denver. Unfortunately, not numbered. And Pascal Siakam with Indianapolis. Indiana, my apologies. Not numbered. Womp, womp. Moving on. If the pack will actually open, for God's sakes. And I was sitting here talking to my dad and got some helpful, friendly advice, of course, from some other friends. And definitely some changes coming here fairly soon this next week and future streams. Washington Wizards, Malcolm Bogdan. Jabari Smith Jr. With Houston. Paul George with the Sixers. Hold on, let me adjust this down a little bit here. Kyle Olynyk. That's with Toronto. Mr. Fat Man himself, James Harden with the Clippers. That's the Clippers. Max Strus with Cleveland. Portland. Jeremy Grant. My apologies. Jose Alvarado. That's with the Pelicans. Rookie card, Jalen Tyson. With Cleveland as well. Got another Nick in Jalen Brunson. Isaiah Collier rookie card with the Jazz. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with OKC. We got a frequent flyer, Jason Tatum with Boston. Not numbered. Unfortunate. Speaking of Jabari Smith Jr., here's another one there. Finishing this off with DeAndre Ayton with Portland. All right, moving forward, we got 4 more packs to go, and then we'll go ahead and sign her off, guys. Try and make this quick because I know we're already almost at 2 hours, so I'll try and make this part quick as possible. So I'm just going to show off some cards. Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Marcus Smart, Jalen Johnson, Andrew Nembhard, Dennis Schroeder, Jaden Ivey, blah, 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 Jonathan Kuminga. Oh, of course, I have to use the restroom as well. So this makes things even better. I'm not going to open all of them, especially since I now have to use the restroom. So I appreciate everybody who came out, who enjoyed the stream. If you enjoy and want to see more, especially for the folks over on YouTube, please smash the like button, subscribe. We'll be back with more.